Hey, what's up with it, King? What's up with it, Queen? Look, y'all already know who it is. It's your big brother, Demont Pope, a.k.a. Mr. Purpose over pointless excuses. Look, y'all already know what's up with me, man. Look, we've been bringing y'all value. The purpose is to add value to listeners, man. We may have some entrepreneurs who want to step out and do some different things. And then again, we may not have some people that may not want to do entrepreneurship. They just may want to perfect where they are and what they're doing right now. But look, without further delay, without further ado, I've been bringing y'all special guests. This is no different. I got a very, very special guest. I'm excited. I've been trying to get this guest on, y'all, since about January. So it took me about 5 months to get this person on because she's busy. She's doing phenomenal things. So without further delay, right, I want to introduce to some and present to others, Miss Latoya Williams. Yeah. What's going on, Miss? What's up with it?
Hello, how are you?
Man, I'm excited. I'm doing well. Again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come kick it with your bro in the kingdom. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, Gems and Gent coachings. Listen, the coaching corner, I've been hearing some things about it. I want to get into that because I know who you are. So I'm not going to delay the time, right? First off, right out the gate, I want you to tell the people, right? Who is Latoya Williams, right? And what is this Gems and Gents coaching corner? Like, what is that all about? Yeah.
First, hello, everyone. Thank you again to your amazing panel for allowing me to release my story out to the world. I am Latoya Williams. I am a native of Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. I am the oldest of 6 kids. I'm raised by my grandparents in the city of Atlanta, in the heart of Atlanta. So I know all about the inner city struggles. I know all about what our inner city youth are going through. I know all about so many different things that they struggle with on a day-to-day basis. Gems and Gents Coaching Corner is a nonprofit organization in the city of Atlanta. And we mentor inner city youth, not just your average youth. We mentor your youth that are going through issues in life, dealing with those things that we don't even think about. Our young people are facing so many adult struggles in this season. And as adults, we go through our day dealing with our own struggles, but we don't stop to think about everything that our young people are going through. So Gems and Gents Coaching Corner is that platform for them to be able to release what they're going through, come to a group of people that understand where they came from, but know where they're going, because we understand that you don't have to be a product of what you came from. I am a witness of that. You don't have to be a product of your struggles that you're dealing with. You don't have to be a product of the things that you see in your community. There are so many different avenues. There are so many different resources. There are so many different things outside of what you see every day. And Gems and Gents Coaching Corner is that nonprofit organization that is there to open the doors for our young people to see that there is more to life than what they are being presented with.
You coming in hot, man. Slow down, calm down right quick. I got sweat dripping and everything already, man. All I can think about is that Lecrae and Andy Mineo song, Coming In Hot. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, y'all, hey, in case y'all didn't know it, hey, I told y'all, man, hey, that's Latoya Williams, man. Gems and Gents Coaching Corner. Listen, very, very, very grateful for you. You just opened up explosively. Like, I'm about to really just give you the interview. I'm gonna sit back and just let you do what you're doing, because some things you just can't intervene and interrupt and mess with. Sometimes you just gotta let that thing flow. And I like how you letting it flow. And you're talking about coming from the city of Atlanta, and you're talking about the mentoring of the young boys and the young girls, right? Knowing where they came from, but also knowing where they could go, right? And you and I are both products of this inner city Atlanta. We public school, APS system, with all that whole nine, right? And I was privileged enough to accompany you or join you on your platform at an event last year in Atlanta, right? We did the back to school situation where we was able to give out some things. You had the commissioners out there. Like, it's some very, very phenomenal things that you're doing here in the city of Atlanta. So I'm grateful to have you on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, if you are getting value, you already know where I'm going with this. I need you to like this. I need you to hit subscribe. I need you to thumbs up. I need you to share this to about 5 or maybe 10 people who need to get some value. Let them know what's going on over here on the King Speaks podcast with your big bruh, Demont Pope. And that's your big sis over there, Latoya Williams. You know what I'm talking about? Gems and Gents Coaching Corner, right? Let's get back focused on that. Now, the second question I want to ask you is, because you already seem so passionate about what you do and so passionate about the kids. Now, usually I would ask my guests, like, was this something that you've always wanted to do, or did it just kind of catch you by surprise? But I'm gonna take a different route and flow with this, how it's going. So let me ask you this, like, what was the driving force, right, behind you starting this amazing mentoring company called Gems and Gents Coaching Corner? Like, what was the driving force behind that?
Gems and Gents Coaching Corner is my heartbeat. Why is it my heartbeat? Because again, as I stated, I am the oldest of 6 kids. My grandparents raised me, which is the story of so many of our young people, unfortunately, in this season. But not only that, my mom is an addict. My dad was not there. I was raised not only in the city of Atlanta, but in Thomasville Heights projects. So I know the struggles. I know not having a roof over my head. I know not knowing where my next meal is going to come from. I know what it means to be without. And although my grandparents provided what they could, there's nothing like having a mother and a father in the home. And when you are raised by your grandparents, you miss things that a lot of people don't think that you miss. There are struggles being raised by your grandparents. There are struggles being raised in the projects. There are struggles when you are raised in a poverty-stricken community that people outside of that don't understand. So Gems and Gents Coaching Corner was my avenue for me to go back to all of those that are going through what I came through, to let them know that if God did it for me, He'll definitely do it for you. I'm no different than you. We all have a story. We all have a path that we have to walk, but just know that not only are you walking that walk to give God the glory, but you're also walking that walk because there is an avenue of people behind you that He is setting you up for, that He is building you up for, that He is strengthening you for, so that you can reach back and pull out your fellow brother, your fellow sister, that little girl, that little boy who seems and feels like they have no hope. They don't know where the next step is going to be. They don't know what their next open door is going to be, but they have you as that stepping stone. They have you as that picture. They have you as that example for them to know that if she can do it, and she came from the project, if she can do it, and she had a child out of wedlock, if she can do it, and she was raped, she was molested, if she can do it, then she is the example for me to know that I can do it. All hope is not lost. I have a saying, and I have a t-shirt that says, gracefully broken, strategically put together.
Hold on. Run that back again. Like, hey, why people think they can come on here and speed through vital information and powerful nuggets? Like, run that back for the people one more time. Say that again.
You have been gracefully broken and strategically put together. God does not make mistakes. Even when it looks hard to us, even when we don't understand why we had to go through, just know that God broke you for a reason. God took you through for a reason, but God strategically put you together so that you can fulfill the purpose and the destiny that He has for you to fulfill.
Now, let me find out that you practice for this interview, man. Like, all right, let me explain what's going on with my face, because the viewers and listeners probably see the strange looking face that I be making. All right, so I used to call that the gas face, right? That's that face that you make when somebody be done past gas, right? You understand what I'm saying? But that's the spirit face. Like when somebody's saying something, you be like, like she was just all in the spirit with it. So I couldn't hide my facial expression there. My emotions are all over the place, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because you talked about a lot of struggle. You hit a lot of pain points. And when we talking about these young people, Latoya, we know that I'm all about purpose. I'm Mr. Purpose over pointless excuses. And I'm all about helping these young people identify their purpose and realize their purpose. And when you said that gracefully broken and strategically put together, y'all like how I just stole that and just used that, right? That's hers, though. I'm gonna let y'all know that's Latoya Williams. I didn't say that, so don't be quoting me with that. That's Latoya Williams, right? So when you talk about being gracefully broken, like, let's pause right there, because when you talked about the struggle of growing up with your grandparents, and that's a lot of inner city youth are growing up being raised completely by their grandparents for one reason or another. And you talked about the absence of your biological father. And I definitely can relate to that because my biological father wasn't present in my life. And you talked about your mother being an addict. That's an entirely different struggle in itself. And I'm very familiar myself with the effects of an addict or growing up in the household with an addict and the effects that it have on them, as well as everybody connected to them directly or indirectly. So the reason why I was making the spirit face, the reason why my face was turned up is because it's hard for me to sit still, because I know, right? I know what it feels like to be in those situations. And we've taken an entirely different turn from what was expected. But right now, Toya, we finna bless some people, right? Because I want you to talk about, like, real quick, before I get to another question, I know, right, what it's like to grow up in a broken home or come from a broken family, right? So I don't know what it's like to be raised by grandparents. As a matter of fact, Latoya, like, I lost my grandparents when I was at a young age. Like, I was maybe 7 or 8 when both my grandparents were gone. So I've never had the luxury of being able to grow up with that grandparent, whether it was disciplining me or raising me or correcting me or just loving on me. Like, I have very few memories of my grandparents. So, like, what was it like growing up being raised by your grandparents? And you talked about the struggle and people not knowing. Like, give us like maybe one real quick struggle, like, other than the fact that maybe, you know, the age gap, you know what I mean? They may be older than all the other parents, so it may be a little more difficult for them to relate, right? But like, what was one of the main struggles that you had to deal with growing up being raised by grandparents? Because I got a feeling that somebody's watching this and listening to this and they're being raised by their grandparent right now. And Latoya, you're on here because I can't reach everybody. So I can't reach that person because I can't relate, but you can. So talk to that person right now. What struggle did you experience being raised by your grandparents?
I just want to first start by telling that young little girl or that young little boy, you were not a mistake. You were not a mistake. Stop carrying that in your heart. Stop carrying that weight on your shoulder. You were not a mistake. Something happened in your mom's life. Something happened in your father's life that caused them to have to step away. But again, God does not make mistakes. He does not do anything by accident. Right. Growing up, raised by a grandparent, it is a hard situation, not just because of the age difference, but because you have friends that are around you and they have their mothers, they have their fathers. Grandparents can't always come to all of the football games. Grandparents can't always come to all of the basketball games. You may not have that support that your friend has. You may not have that support that someone else that you are connected with have, because you see them. Their mom is always at the school. Their mom is always at events. Their moms are always doing things with them. And your grandparents may not necessarily have the luxury to be there to go to the football games or go to the basketball games. But I sit here as a witness to let you know, I don't know why God is telling me you are not a mistake.
Come on with that. Come on with it.
Because grandmother is the one raising you. There is a reason in this season that God has you where he has you. There is a reason that he has you where you are. We don't always see the big picture. We don't always understand why God does what he does and how our lives operate the way that they do. I oftentimes ask myself, why me? I didn't have a mother or a father. But I had to stop and say, God, why not me? What makes me any different than the next person? What makes me so special that I couldn't go through this? Because you're taking me through this so that I can, again, help that someone that needs to know that just because, but God. And you can fill in the blanks. just because, but God.
Yeah.
God will never leave you. He will never forsake you. And you hear it all the time, but that merely means that he's always there.
Always.
Even when it seems like, even when it feels like, God is always there. And your grandmother, your grandfather, your grandparents are doing what was placed in their laps. They could have turned their backs on you. I always tell people, my mom was 16 when she had me. My grandparents could have put me in foster care and walked away. They had their own kids, but God had a purpose.
Come on. Talk that talk.
God had a purpose
Talk
in that situation. You don't know that you could have been that lifeline that your grandparents needed just to stay alive. You don't know that your God, my God, our God could have been protecting you from something that your parents were involved in. And had he released you to that situation, you may not be here right now to even hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Always know God does not make mistakes. And although we struggle with the insecurities of not having parents, and sometimes it is a shameful situation, we have questions. Why wasn't my mom there? Why didn't my mom want me? Why didn't my dad want me? Why did my dad walk away? But just know that God has a protection around you. He has a hedge of protection around you. And whatever he protected you from, thank God.
Listen, let me jump off in here right quick, because I was that kid that always wanted to know why. Like, why didn't my dad want me? Like why, first of all, why was I different than the other people? Like, why wasn't I tough as other people? Why wasn't I built muscular? Why wasn't I athletic? Like, why was I different than everybody? Like, why did my twin sister have to die when we were babies? Like, why did I have to go through some of the things? And Latoya, these are things that some of our listeners right now are going through. And so I had to take this moment to kind of pause from the interview questions to kind of address this issue so that we can help somebody. Now, this is a good time, if you haven't already, to hit the like, hit the subscribe, notification bell. Go ahead, text somebody, let somebody know they need to hear this information, because somebody's life is about to be changed. That's what we're here for. We're here to pursue our purpose and realize our purpose, right? So let me ask you something else, Latoya. Let me jump right back into this interview. Why is it so important, right? And I know this is probably going to be a strange question. Y'all like, we already know that, but I need to ask this question. Why is it so important, right, to start developing gems and gents, right, at an early age? And in case they missed what I'm talking about, gems and gents, we talking about the future kings and future queens, right? We talking about that princess. We talking about that young prince. We talking about that son, that daughter. We talking about that future husband, that future wife. We talking about that future father, that future mother, that future president, that future leader. Like, why is it important to cultivate and develop gems and gents at a young age, as opposed to waiting until they're already maybe high school or college students?
The early foundation is important because in the first 5 years of a child's life, that shapes and molds them mentally. If that foundation is rocky, you set that child up for a lifelong issue that they may not necessarily be able to bounce back from. When we are raising our children, they see, they gravitate, they adapt to their surrounding.
Right.
And if we start our children, as the Bible say, train them up in the way that they should go.
That's it.
So when they get to that high school and that young adulthood, they won't depart. Even when they stray, they know that that foundation has already been laid. So when we get them at an early age and we impart wisdom, we impart positive affirmations. You can do it. You will be successful. You are a leader. When we get that in their minds, it becomes repetitious for them. So now they begin to see themselves the way God sees them.
That's it.
So when they're in school and that little boy calls her ugly or calls her skinny, or that little girl says his nose is big or his hair is nappy, he already knows in his mind, I am a king.
Come on.
I am a prince. I already know who and whose I am. So there's nothing that you can say to me to break me, because I already know that I stand on a firm foundation.
Come on.
And you can't come in and break my foundation because my foundation has already been laid. So even though you may come in and I may sway, but I guarantee you, if that foundation is solid, they won't fall.
Come on.
So
That's
we
it.
get them at an early age and strengthen them and build them up and prepare them for the cares of this world. When they go out into the real world, they're already prepared for the real world because they got the real world when they were at home.
That's it. That's it.
So we have to make sure that we get them early, because by the time they get to high school, late middle school, they're pretty much already, as they say, old people, set in their ways. And it's kind of hard, not impossible, but it's hard to kind of sway them from that, because now you got to go in, you got to rework some things. But if that's already imparted in them, then they already know who they are. So there's nothing that you or anybody else can say. The enemy has no control when they already know who they belong to. So get them early. So by the time they get to be those kings and those queens from that princes and that princess stage, they already know there's nothing that they can do to me because I'm already rock solid.
Come on with it. Come on with it. And the fact that you stated some true statistics, right? The first 5 years are the most critical. Yes. And you also stated some more facts. And it's an old saying, you know, when they reach high school or whatever, they set in their ways. And also, I like to say this: preventative maintenance is a lot cheaper, right, than a repair, right? Yes. So preventative maintenance is a lot cheaper than repair. And one of my uncles, rest in peace, one of my favorite uncles, one of his favorite things to say, or one of the things that I maybe remember the most, he would say, AGE does not spell MAN, right? AGE does not spell MAN. So Latoya, when you were talking, and you were talking about those developmental stages of life. So if those developmental stages of life, right, if they wasn't developed or cultivated or nurtured properly, it would be damaged, correct? Yeah. Which means that you will have, because of their AGE, you would have some adult boys and some adult girls that we would call men and women that pretty much are not necessarily where they need to be mentally to handle what they are about to embark on or experience. So when I think of the AGE don't spell MAN, that means to me, doesn't matter how old you are, right? There's still a process of learning that you have to go through. Now, the older you get, the more complicated that process is. And I like how you said, Latoya, it's not impossible. It's definitely possible, but you're going to have to work for it, right? But that's what we all about. We here to put in that work. We came for the work. We here and we are prepared for the work. We were born, trained, and destined for this work, right? So the reason why I have guests that come on here to tackle different issues, listen, I can't be an expert in every field. So I got to focus on what I'm called to do. I got to focus on what I'm good at, right? Which is purpose pushing, right? That's my thing. You get what I'm saying? So Latoya is here to help me out and reach you on a whole different level, a whole nother level. You feel where I'm coming from with this? A whole nother level, right, of impact. So go ahead, if you're getting value, hit the subscribe, notification bell, like, thumbs up, leave a comment, let us know you're getting something from it. Latoya, another question, right? Let us know one of the most difficult, or I tell you what, let us know one of the most important lessons that you've learned over your career in mentoring these young boys, mentoring these young girls, these gems and gents, right? As you cultivate and develop them into the kings and queens that they will become. Like, what is one of the most important lessons that you've learned over the years of doing this purpose work?
Most important lesson I've learned is patience. We are in a society where everybody wants a microwave blessing. Everybody wants a microwave outcome. Everybody wants it to be instant. In the field that I am in, grooming these young men and women, I missed that first 5 years of their lives. So now I'm in that middle school, high school range. So now I'm on that it's not impossible, but it's possible avenue. So in that, I have had to learn patience because everybody didn't come from the same background. These young people are dealing with real life situations. So they aren't going to come in and make a change overnight. I'm not going to get the result that I feel like I came for overnight. Yeah. I have to remain patient and I have to trust God. And in that trust in God, it's not going to always be easy. It's not going to always come the way that we want it. It's not going to always come on our timing. But in that patience, you got to know that God is moving, God is taking control, and God does not work on time. There are some things that God has to come in and cultivate. It's some things that he got to come in and he got to just stir it up. It's some things that he got to come in and he got to work on some things. I am this person that's going to come in and open the door, but I got to move out the way and let God do what he's going to do, because at the end of the day, even though Gems and Gents Coaching Corner is a nonprofit for the community, this is still all about God. This is something that God gave me. This is God's ministry. This is his platform. So this is not about me. God is the one that's sending those that need to be touched by Gems and Gents. So when they come in, I have to be patient and trust God to know that you sent him, you sent her for a reason, and there is something that you have to do in this. So now that I have opened the door and laid the platform and allowed the foundation to be there, now I move out the way and I let God come in and do what it is that he is going to do.
I love that. I love that, Latoya. Excellent, excellent. And while we rolling, we might as well jump off in another one right quick, because patience, right? I haven't always had that, and I still struggle. Let me be honest. For my wife, be like, all right, I still struggle with the patience situation, right? So now that we know that patience is the most important lessons you've learned, we finna help them some more. Like, let's talk about some more challenges, because we know that just because you decide to follow your purpose and walk in your calling and do the God work, it ain't gonna be easy. So talk to me real quick, briefly, about the biggest challenge that you're facing in your business, right? And how are you handling it, right? Let me know that.
My biggest challenge right now is not just donors for the organization to continue to do what needs to be done, but my biggest challenge right now is making sure we have the resources needed to touch the lives of those that we need to touch. I never want to have someone come to the organization in need of something and we are not able to supply that resource. So right now, it is just making sure that we are connecting all of our dots, getting more acclimated with the community, and bringing in those people that will be able to provide and have the resources needed. Our organization has had the opportunity to partner with the old Fourth Ward community. Anyone from the city of Atlanta knows that that community is not only a community that is thriving, but it is a community that is in need.
Yeah, most
and
definitely.
They are in need from the youngest to the eldest. And they see Gems and Gents on a monthly basis. And I never want anyone, from the homeless man on the corner to the little girl in school, to the mother who is struggling with 5 kids, to ever look at Gems and Gents and say they couldn't provide.
My goodness. Listen, and I'm glad you, listen, you got all kind of emotions stirring up, man, because you hitting these pain points, and now you're talking about you want to provide for the kids, and then it's like the resources not there, and it's like you make me want to go in my pocket and just pull out all my money. Listen, but this is what I want to do, because guess what? As big as my heart is, Latoya, as big as your heart is, as big as our purpose is, like, we can't do it alone. It takes a village, it takes a community. So at this point, this is what I want you to do, right? We got one more question and we're going to wrap it up. But before we do that, Latoya, I want you to let everybody know, like, if they really want to be a part of making a difference, right? Because it's easy to say, I'm going to pray for you and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Like, that's one thing. And we definitely need that. But faith without works is dead. Like we need work. We need to do something with that faith and with that prayer. So let the people know where they can reach out to you. You know what I mean? Let them know what you got going on, your social media handles, website, or even where they can send donations or whatever they can do. Like, let us know that real quick, and then we'll get into the last question and wrap it up.
Yes, thank you so much. So if you are interested in just reaching out to Gems and Gents, even just for volunteering, just to come out and see what we're all about, if you want to go on our website is gemsandgentscoachingcorner.org. Yeah. Our social media handles for Facebook as well as Instagram are Gems and Gents CC. You can always email us at gemsandgentscoachingcorner@gmail.com. We are everywhere. We are everywhere. If you would like to just give us a call, our direct telephone number is 762-204-4528. We are always looking for volunteers. We are always looking for resources. We are always looking for a helping hand so that we may help the young people, the old people, the middle people, anyone in this community be better than they were when we came. Thank you.
I love it, Latoya. Hey, y'all hear it. Y'all know what's up with it. Hey, y'all reach out to Gems and Gents Coaching Corner and let's do some phenomenal work. Now, before I let you go, I know I got to let you get out of here. I wish I can hold you. I always get to this point and be wanting to keep people. Like, what is it with me, man? I don't know, man. It's just like good love is hard to find. You know what I'm saying? And then when you got people that's purpose driven and you got people that answer the call, you know what I mean? And following the instructions that the creator gave them, like I'm all about that. So listen. One last question for you, Latoya, before you get out of here is this, right? To that person, to that man, to that woman, to that boy, to that girl, to that educator, to that whatever, right? What is one piece of advice, right? In about 60 seconds, right? What is one piece of advice that you would give someone either starting out in your career or just somebody who may have the background that you've had or the struggles that you've had? Like, what's that piece of advice or what's that gem that you would leave with them?
I would tell you on today, don't quit. You have something to say that somebody needs to hear. You're not too old. You're not that far away from purpose that you can't go back. Someone you are purpose to help is waiting on you. And if you don't jump back in the fight, if you don't get back in that ring, that person may never receive what it is that you have been purposed to do in their lives. I hear a lot of people say, take the word can't out of your vocabulary. I completely disagree with that. Because if you take the word can't out of your vocabulary, then you will never be able to say, I can't quit. I can't give up.
I ain't know where you was going with that.
Give the enemy control. I can't lose. I can't throw in the towel because somebody needs me. I just can't. Because when you say what you can't do, there is somebody out there watching you that's telling you that you can.
Goodness. Listen, man, don't be coming in here trying to take over the King Speaks podcast. You get where I'm coming from? But you hit me in my mouth with that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm one of them people that be like, got to get rid of the word can't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I done been on other podcasts. We talking about this word. So that's why I say I ain't know where you was going with that. But that's why you got to be quiet. You know what I mean? My uncle also said God gave me one mouth, two eyes, two ears for a reason. Look and listen twice much you speak, because she just dropped a major gem. She just dropped a major gem. Latoya, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come kick it with me. But listen, most importantly, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your day, staying tuned in to the entire episode. Listen, hey, it's your big bruh, Demont Pope, aka Mr. Purpose Over Pointless Excuses. You already know I'm gonna be right here same time next week. Hey, that's your big sis, Latoya Williams of Gems and Gents Coaching Corner. Yeah.